The battlefield was still smoking when he saw her. A tall, fierce alien woman stood in the middle of the ruins, her dark armor shining in the firelight. She was unlike any creature he had ever seen, tall, sharp features, glowing eyes, and a beauty that looked almost dangerous. Her long hair moved like shadows in the wind, and every step she took made the ground seem to shake. He knew she was a warrior. Her armor was heavy, made of strange metal, and her weapon looked sharp enough to cut through steel. But there was something else about her, something that made his heart beat faster. She wasn't just deadly. She was beautiful. He didn't know why he said it. Maybe it was the fear. Maybe it was the shock. Or maybe he was just stupid. But the words slipped out of his mouth before he could stop himself. You have a nice butt. For a moment, silence. The fire cracked in the ruins. The smoke curled in the air. The alien warrior stopped moving. Her eyes turned to him. Bright. Cold. Dangerous. He thought she would kill him right there. But instead, something strange happened. She blushed. Her sharp, terrifying face softened just for a second, and a faint red glow rose to her cheeks. And then, she moved. In less than a second, she was standing in front of him. He barely saw her move. Her hand shot out, grabbing him by the collar, lifting him from the ground like he weighed nothing. You dare, her voice was deep, sharp, and filled with fire. To speak to me like that? He tried to laugh, but his voice shook. Well. I was just, being honest. Her eyes narrowed. She looked at him for a long time, and he could feel her breath on his face. Then, without a word, she spun him around, twisted his arms, and locked his wrists in strange glowing cuffs. You are my prisoner now, she said. His heart raced. This was worse than death. Or maybe, more interesting. She pulled him through the ruins, her grip strong and unbreakable. The burning city behind them felt like another world. The ground was hot under his boots, the air filled with ash and the smell of war. Where are you taking me? He asked. To my ship, she answered. You will explain who you are. And why you dare to mock me. I wasn't mocking you, he shouted. I was, complimenting you. The warrior stopped, turned, and gave him a look so sharp it almost cut through his soul. He swallowed hard. Maybe talking wasn't the best idea. They reached the edge of the ruins. And there it was, a massive alien ship, black as night, glowing with strange symbols, hovering just above the ground. The ramp lowered with a hiss of steam. She dragged him inside. The ship was huge. Dark metal walls, strange lights, glowing screens with alien writing he couldn't read. Other warriors turned to look at him as he was pulled through the halls. All of them wore the same armor, but none looked as powerful, or as beautiful, as her. Who is this? One of them asked. A fool, she answered coldly. He will explain himself later. They laughed, but none dared to stop her. She was clearly someone important, maybe a commander, maybe more. Finally, she threw him into a small chamber, the walls glowing with strange energy. The cuffs released, but the door closed behind him with a hiss. He was trapped. He sat on the cold floor, breathing hard. His heart was still racing. He had no idea what would happen next. But one thought burned in his mind, stronger than the fear. The fierce alien woman warrior had blushed, the chamber was silent except for the low hum of alien energy running through the walls. He sat on the floor, staring at the glowing lights that shifted and pulsed like they were alive. It didn't feel like a prison cell. It felt like something worse, something designed to study him. He touched the wall, but the moment his fingers brushed the surface, a spark of energy shot through his skin. He pulled back quickly. Okay, don't touch the walls, he muttered. The door slid open with a hiss, and she entered. The warrior woman. The same one who had dragged him from the ruins. She stood tall, her armor gleaming under the strange light. Her eyes locked onto him, sharp and unblinking. She moved with calm power, every step echoing against the chamber floor. He tried to smile. "Hey, so, I guess this is the part where you ask questions." She tilted her head slightly, almost like she was studying a strange animal. "You are human," she said flatly. "From Earth." He blinked. "Wait, you know Earth?" Her expression hardened. "Your planet is not unknown to us. But humans do not belong here. You crossed into our war. Why?" He raised his hands. "I didn't mean to cross into your war. I was, kind of dragged into it. Wrong place, wrong time. You know how it is." Her eyes narrowed. "You are lying." "I'm not lying," he said quickly. "Look, if I was lying, would I really be stupid enough to compliment your butt?" For a moment, silence. Her cheeks flushed again, just like before, but her eyes grew colder. She stepped closer, towering over him. "You speak with no respect," she said. "Among my people, words like yours are an insult." He swallowed hard. "Yeah, but, among my people, that was a compliment. A big one. It means I noticed you. In a good way." Her lips pressed together, as if she wanted to argue, but didn't have the words. She looked away for a brief moment, then turned back sharply. "You will tell me everything," she said. "Who you are. How you came here. And what you want." He sighed. "My name's Alex. I was just a mechanic back home. Fixing engines, fixing machines. Then, something opened. A gate. I don't know how. I stepped through, and ended up in your war zone." She studied him carefully, her glowing eyes searching for weakness. "A mechanic?" she repeated, as if the word meant little. "Yeah. You know, machines, engines, ships, that kind of stuff. I'm not a soldier. Definitely not a threat." She walked slowly around him, circling like a predator around prey. "And yet, you survived the ruins. Alone." "I got lucky," he said quickly. "Very lucky." She stopped behind him, her voice close to his ear. "Or maybe, you are hiding something." He turned his head slightly, nervous. "Look, if I was hiding something, I wouldn't be sitting here letting you intimidate me. I don't know, have a weapon or a plan. But I don't. I'm just a guy who made a dumb comment at the wrong time." For the first time, he thought he saw something flicker in her eyes. Not anger. Not suspicion. Something else. Curiosity. "You are strange," she said softly. "Strange good or strange bad?" he asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she tapped her wrist, and a glowing panel of alien symbols appeared in the air. With a single motion, she sent data streaming across it. The door hissed open again, and another alien warrior entered, taller, broader, with armor even heavier than hers. "Commander," the warrior said, bowing his head. "Do you require assistance?" "No," she answered firmly. "Leave us." The alien warrior bowed again and left. The door sealed. Alex frowned. "Wait. Commander? You're a commander." Her eyes flashed, warning him to stay quiet. She stepped closer, so close he could feel the heat of her armor. "You will not speak of my rank again," she said sharply. "Not unless I allow it." Alex raised his hands. "Okay. Fine. Got it. No rank talk." She looked at him for a long time, her face unreadable. Then she leaned closer, her voice low. "You are my prisoner. But I decide your fate. If you are useful, maybe you live. If you are not, then you are nothing." His heart pounded. He didn't know why, but part of him believed she wasn't only testing him. There was something else, something hidden in the way she looked at him. And deep down, he realized something terrifying. She could kill him at any moment. But for some reason, she didn't want to. The cell door hissed open again hours later. Alex had tried to sleep, but the strange glow of the walls never dimmed. He wasn't sure if it was day or night, or if time even mattered here. When she stepped inside, his chest tightened. The alien commander. The fierce woman who had captured him. Her steps were slower this time, less like a hunter and more like someone carrying a burden. She stood in front of him, silent, studying his face. "You have been quiet," she finally said. "Well," Alex shrugged, "it's hard to make small talk with glowing walls." Her lips curved almost into a smile, but it vanished quickly. She motioned with her hand, and the cuffs released from the wall. "Come," she ordered. "Where are we going?" he asked cautiously. "You will see." She led him through the corridors of the ship. Alien warriors turned their heads as he passed, their eyes suspicious. He felt their stares like knives on his back. Clearly, humans weren't welcome here. They reached a wide chamber filled with glowing maps. Strange symbols floated in the air, showing planets and star systems he didn't recognize. At the center was a massive hologram of a burning world. She stopped before it. Her shoulders seemed heavier now. "This is why we fight," she said. Alex stared at the burning planet. "That's not Earth, right?" "No. This is Zithris. My homeworld." Her voice had changed. It wasn't sharp like before, it was softer, almost sad. Alex looked at her carefully. "What happened to it?" Her jaw tightened. "Invaders. Machines from beyond our galaxy. They came with fire, with weapons that burned our skies. My people fight every day just to survive." He frowned. "So, you're not the invaders. You're the ones being invaded." She turned her eyes to him, and for the first time, there was no anger in them. Only truth. "We are dying," she admitted. "Every battle we lose more soldiers, more families. And yet, we must keep fighting. Because if we fall, the machines will not stop with us. They will move to other worlds. Perhaps even Earth." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "Why tell me this?" he asked. "I'm just some guy who fixes engines." Her eyes glowed faintly. "Because maybe, you are more." He laughed nervously. "More? No. You've got the wrong guy." But she shook her head. "When I looked into your mind, I saw something different. You do not fear me like others do. You speak without control, without calculation. And yet, you live. That is not weakness. That is, strange strength." Alex blinked. "So you kept me alive because I said something stupid?" Her cheeks colored faintly again, that strange blush that seemed to betray her. She turned away quickly, focusing on the hologram. "You are not a soldier," she said. "But maybe you can still be useful. You said you repair machines." "Yeah," he said slowly. "Then you will prove it. Our ship was damaged in the last battle. If you can fix what our own engineers cannot, maybe you are worth keeping alive. And if I fail?" Her eyes hardened again. "Then you will not live to try again." Alex swallowed. "Great. No pressure." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Do not think I trust you. I do not. But something about you is different. And I must know why." Before he could answer, the ship shuddered violently. A loud alarm echoed through the halls. Warriors shouted in their alien tongue, rushing past the chamber. She snapped her head toward the door. "They are here." "Who's here?" Alex asked, panic rising in his voice. "The machines," she said. Another explosion rocked the ship. The floor shook beneath them. The hologram flickered and vanished. Without warning, she grabbed Alex by the arm. "You will stay with me," she ordered. "Do not run. Do not speak unless I command it." He nodded quickly. His heart pounded in his chest as the ship shook again, louder this time. The commander pulled him into the hallway. Soldiers rushed in every direction, alarms blaring. Through the windows, Alex saw it, massive ships in the distance, black and sharp like blades, firing streams of burning light. The machines. The commander drew her weapon, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. She looked every bit the warrior now, fierce, unstoppable. But then, she looked back at him. Just for a second. And in that second, Alex saw something he didn't expect. Fear. She feared losing this battle. She feared losing everything. And somehow, against all logic, Alex realized something even stranger. He didn't want her to lose either. The ship shook again as another blast hit its outer shields. Red lights flashed across the corridor, alarms screaming in an alien tongue. Warriors rushed past with weapons glowing, their faces sharp with focus and fear. Alex stumbled, almost falling, but the commander's grip on his arm was strong. She pulled him forward, cutting through the chaos with calm power. Her long stride forced him to keep up. "What do I do?" he shouted over the noise. "You stay alive," she snapped. "That's not very comforting," he yelled back. The ship rocked hard, throwing them both against the wall. Sparks rained down from the ceiling. Warriors shouted orders, forming lines to defend the hallways. Alex saw through the windows again, black, blade-like enemy ships cutting through the void, their weapons burning like fire. The machines looked endless. The commander drew her weapon, a long spear glowing with energy. "The enemy has boarded," she said coldly. "Stay close." Alex's heart nearly stopped. "Boarded? You mean, they're inside the ship?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The sound came first, a metallic screech, like claws on steel. Then the shadows moved. From the broken walls, machine soldiers crawled inside. Tall, thin, silver bodies with glowing red eyes and sharp blades for arms. They moved fast, too fast, like predators on the hunt. The alien warriors charged forward with battle cries. Weapons clashed, sparks flew, energy bolts lit the corridors in blinding light. The machines screeched, slicing through armor, metal against metal. Alex froze. He had never seen war this close. Not on Earth, not anywhere. His whole body screamed at him to hide. But then, he saw her. The commander moved like fire. Her spear cut through machines with deadly grace. Every strike was perfect, her armor glowing as she spun, blocked, and struck again. She was beautiful and terrifying at once. And for a moment, Alex forgot the danger. He just watched her. Until one of the machines broke past the line and came straight at him. Alex's eyes went wide. The thing's blades raised high, red eyes locked onto him. He had nowhere to run. Then, her spear slammed through the machine's chest, pinning it to the wall. Sparks exploded as it screeched and died. She turned on him, her face fierce. "Do not freeze again," she shouted. "I didn't freeze, I was thinking," he stammered. Her glare said she didn't believe him. She pulled him forward again, deeper into the ship. They reached a heavy door that slid open with a hiss. Inside was a chamber filled with strange machines, glowing crystals, and spinning energy coils. The air buzzed with power. "The engine room," she said quickly. "You claim you are a mechanic. Prove it." Alex's eyes widened. "Wait, you want me to fix your alien engine while killer robots are on board?" "Yes." He looked around wildly. "I don't even know how this thing works." "Then learn fast." Her eyes burned into his. "Our shields are failing." If the engines fall too, we will die. All of us. Alex swallowed hard. He stepped toward the massive machine in the center. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, pulsing with energy, alive with symbols he couldn't read. But some parts looked familiar. Wires, conduits, coolant systems. Okay, he muttered. Machines are machines. Doesn't matter if they're human or alien. They all break the same way. The commander stood at the door, spear ready, blocking the path. Outside, the sound of battle grew louder. The machines were still coming. Alex worked fast, pulling open panels, following the flow of energy. Sparks jumped as he touched the wrong part. He cursed under his breath. Faster, she warned. I'm trying, he shouted. This isn't exactly a car engine. Another explosion shook the room. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Alex found the problem. One of the energy conduits was cracked, bleeding glowing fluid like blood. If it failed completely, the engine would collapse. He tore off his jacket and wrapped it tight around the conduit, sealing the leak. Then he rerouted the flow through another system, forcing the power to stabilize. The engine roared back to life. Lights surged, brighter than before. The whole ship steadied. He fell back, panting, his hands burned and shaking. It's working. The commander looked back at the glowing machine, then at him. Her expression didn't change much, but her eyes softened. You did it, she said quietly. Before he could answer, the door shook violently. Metal claws tore through it. The machines had found them. She spun her spear, ready for battle. Stay behind me. Alex's stomach dropped. Oh no, here we go again. The door burst open, and the machines poured in. The door crashed open with a scream of tearing metal. Sparks rained down as machine soldiers forced their way inside. Their red eyes glowed in the darkness, and their blade-like arms gleamed, hungry for blood. The commander moved first. She struck with her glowing spear, the weapon slicing through two machines in a single strike. They fell, sparks flying. She spun, blocked, stabbed again, every motion sharp, every strike perfect. Alex stood frozen for a second, watching her fight. She looked like a storm, unstoppable. But there were too many. One of the machines leapt over her, landing close to him. Its blades raised high, ready to cut him down. Move, Alex, she shouted. He ducked just as the blade missed his head by inches. Instinct took over. He grabbed a broken metal pipe from the floor and swung with all his strength. The pipe slammed into the machine's head, sparks bursting out. It staggered, and he hit it again, until it fell in pieces. He panted hard, shocked at what he had just done. Okay. I'm still alive. Keep fighting, the commander barked. The machines poured in. 3 came at once. She struck down one, but the other 2 got past her. Alex swung the pipe again, knocking one back, but the second slashed across his arm. He cried out, dropping the pipe. The machine raised its blade for the kill. The commander lunged, her spear piercing through the machine's chest before it could strike him. She ripped it free, her face fierce with rage. Stay close to me, she shouted. He grabbed the pipe again, blood running down his arm, and nodded. Got it. They fought side by side. She cut through machines with deadly precision, while he swung his pipe wildly, smashing joints and wires. It wasn't graceful, but it worked. Every time he was too slow, her spear was there. Every time she was surrounded, he distracted one long enough for her to strike. The room filled with smoke, sparks, and the sound of tearing metal. The machines screeched as they fell, but more kept coming. Finally, the last one dropped with a loud crash, its red eyes going dark. The room was silent again, except for their heavy breathing. Alex leaned against the wall, gripping his bleeding arm. "Please, tell me that was all of them." The commander looked at the ruined door, her eyes narrowing. "No. That was only the first wave." He groaned. "Of course it was." She stepped closer, examining his arm. Her fingers brushed the wound, and he winced. "You are injured," she said softly. "Yeah, well. I'm not exactly built for fighting killer robots." Her eyes met his. For a moment, she looked less like a warrior and more like something else. Someone carrying weight heavier than armor. "You fought," she said quietly. "You stood your ground." He laughed weakly. "I mostly just swung a pipe until things broke." Her lips almost curved, almost into a smile. "Sometimes, that is enough." She tore a strip of cloth from her armor and wrapped it tightly around his arm. Her hands were strong but careful. He watched her closely, noticing how her eyes glowed softer now, less like fire and more like light. "You saved me," he said. "You saved me too," she replied without looking at him. He blinked. "I did? When?" She tied the cloth tight and finally looked at him. "When you fixed the engine. Without it, we would already be dead." Alex didn't know what to say. For the first time, he saw respect in her eyes. Not pity. Not suspicion. Respect. Before he could speak, the ship shook violently again. An alarm screamed. A voice shouted in her alien tongue over the comms. Her face turned cold once more. "The machines are not retreating. They are preparing for a final strike." "Final strike?" Alex asked nervously. She grabbed her spear, her armor glowing brighter. "If they destroy the core, the ship will fall. We must stop them." He looked at his bleeding arm, then at the broken pipe still in his hand. He felt fear crawling through his chest, but also something else, something new. "I'm coming with you," he said firmly. Her eyes flashed. "You would die." "Maybe," he admitted. "But if I stay here, I'll probably die anyway. At least out there, I can help." For a long moment, she stared at him, silent. Then she gave a single nod. "Very well," she said. "You fight with me." Alex tightened his grip on the pipe. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. Side by side. The commander's eyes glowed brighter, and this time, she didn't hide her faint smile. "Yes," she said. Side by side. Together, they stepped out of the engine room, into the chaos of battle. The corridors shook as the ship's alarm screamed. The commander and Alex moved quickly through the smoke-filled halls. Warriors ran past them, weapons raised, faces sharp with fear. The whole ship felt alive with panic, the air buzzing with the sound of battle. Through a wide window, Alex saw the enemy fleet. Dark, blade-shaped ships hovered outside, firing beams of burning light. Dozens of smaller machines crawled across the hull, tearing at the shields. "They're everywhere," Alex whispered. The commander's jaw tightened. "Then we fight everywhere." They reached the main deck where alien warriors had formed defensive lines. Energy cannons fired at waves of machine soldiers pouring in through broken walls. The red-eyed machines cut through everything, their blades slicing armor like paper. "Hold the line," a warrior shouted. But the line was breaking. The commander raised her spear and charged forward, joining the front. Her weapon glowed bright, striking machines down with every sweep. Her presence gave her soldiers strength, they fought harder with her leading them. Alex stood back at first, gripping his bent metal pipe. His heart hammered in his chest. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained for this. But then a machine broke past the line, rushing straight at a wounded warrior on the floor. Without thinking, Alex ran forward and smashed his pipe into its head. Sparks burst out, and he hit it again until it collapsed. The wounded warrior looked at him in shock, then nodded in thanks. Alex's chest burned with fear, but also with something else, purpose. He ran back to the commander's side. "What's the plan?" She stabbed through another machine and shouted, "The core room. If the machines reach it, the ship is lost. So we hold them here." She shook her head. "No. We take the fight to them." Alex's eyes widened. "What?" Before he could argue, the ship shook violently. A massive explosion tore through the side wall, and the air filled with fire and smoke. From the hole, a giant machine stepped inside. It was twice the size of the others, with heavy armor and glowing red eyes like burning suns. Its arms were long blades, its voice a scream of metal grinding on metal. The commander stood tall. "Destroy it," she ordered. The giant machine roared and charged. Warriors fired their weapons, but the blasts bounced off its armor. It swung its blades, cutting down soldiers with a single sweep. The line broke. Alex's stomach twisted. "That thing's unstoppable." "Nothing is unstoppable," the commander growled. She rushed forward, spear glowing brighter than ever. She leapt, striking at its chest. Sparks flew, but the spear barely pierced the armor. The machine swung its massive arm, sending her crashing into the wall. The warriors froze. Fear spread across their faces. "Commander!" Alex shouted. She groaned, struggling to rise, but the giant machine moved toward her, raising its blades for the kill. Alex's whole body screamed at him to run. To hide. To do anything but what he was about to do. But he didn't run. He grabbed a dropped energy rifle from the floor. It was heavy, alien, and strange, but he aimed it at the giant machine's head and pulled the trigger. A burst of blue energy exploded, hitting the machine in the eye. It staggered back, roaring. The commander looked up in surprise. Alex fired again, and again, each shot sparking against the armor. The machine turned toward him now, its red eyes blazing. "Alex, no," the commander shouted. The giant charged him. Alex fired until the rifle clicked empty. Then, with no other choice, he raised his broken pipe. The machine's shadow fell over him. At the last second, the commander leapt back into the fight. Her spear struck the crack Alex had made in its eye. The blade pierced deep, sparks exploding. The machine screamed, thrashing wildly, then collapsed to the ground in a shower of fire and smoke. The room went silent. The commander pulled her spear free, breathing hard. She turned to Alex, her eyes glowing. "You gave me the opening," she said quietly. Alex lowered the pipe, his hands shaking. I thought I was about to die." "You almost did," she said. Then, softer, "But you did not run. You stood." For a moment, they just looked at each other, the chaos around them fading. Then another alarm screamed, sharper than before. A voice shouted in her language. She listened, her face going pale. "What? What is it?" Alex asked. Her hand tightened on the spear. "The machines have breached the core chamber." Alex's stomach dropped. "That's bad, right?" She met his eyes. "If they destroy the core, this ship, and everyone on it, will burn." Alex swallowed. "Then we don't let that happen." She stared at him for a long second, then nodded. Side by side. Together, they turned and ran toward the heart of the ship, toward the final battle waiting for them. The core chamber was alive with light. A tall crystal pulsed in the center, glowing with blue fire, sending waves of energy through the walls. It was the heart of the alien ship, and without it, nothing would survive. But the machines were already there. Dozens of them crawled across the floor and walls, their red eyes glowing like embers in the dark. They tore at the crystal with sharp claws, each strike sending cracks of energy flashing through the air. Alex and the commander stood in the doorway, their weapons ready. Alex whispered, "There's too many." The commander's face was hard. Then we end as warriors. She raised her spear, and with a roar, charged into the chamber. Her blade burned with light as she cut through the first wave of machines. Sparks flew, metal crashed, and her voice echoed like thunder. Alex followed, swinging his pipe and firing a stolen rifle when he could. Fear burned in his chest, but he fought anyway, his arms aching, his throat raw from shouting. Each machine that fell only seemed to be replaced by two more. The air filled with chaos, metal grinding, weapons flashing, screams of battle. "Protect the core," the commander shouted, striking down another machine. They fought side by side, back to back, holding the machines away from the crystal. The commander moved with skill and fury, her spear dancing in her hands. Alex was clumsy but relentless, every strike fueled by desperation. But the machines kept coming. Then the floor shook. A deep rumble rose from the chamber walls. From the shadows, something massive stepped forward. It was larger than the giant they had faced before. Its body was black steel, its chest glowing with a burning red core. Its head was crowned with blades, and its arms were cannons that hummed with deadly energy. Alex froze. That's the boss, isn't it? The commander's eyes narrowed. The Machine King. The monster raised its arm. A blast of red energy shot out, striking the floor near them. The explosion threw Alex back against the wall. His vision blurred, ears ringing. Through the smoke, he saw the commander standing alone against the Machine King. She blocked its strikes, sparks exploding around her. She moved like lightning, but even she was slowing. "No," Alex groaned, crawling to his feet. His rifle was gone. His pipe was broken in half. His body screamed with pain. But when he saw the Machine King raise both arms toward the commander, ready to end her, something inside him snapped. He grabbed a fallen machine's arm, a sharp, jagged blade, and ran forward with everything he had. "Hey! Over here," he shouted. The Machine King turned, red eyes locking on him. Alex's heart pounded, but he didn't stop. He drove the blade straight into the glowing red core in the monster's chest. The machine roared, throwing him back with a wave of energy. His body hit the floor hard, pain exploding through him. He could barely move. But the crack was there. A deep wound in the machine's chest. The commander saw it. With a cry that shook the chamber, she leapt high, her spear burning brighter than ever. She drove it into the crack, straight through the Machine King's core. For a second, everything went silent. Then the Machine King exploded in a storm of fire and light. The blast shook the chamber, sending machines flying, their bodies crashing lifeless to the ground. When the smoke cleared, the commander stood in the middle of the chamber, her spear still glowing. Around her, every machine lay broken. Alex coughed, forcing himself to sit up. "Did we win?" She turned to him, her face covered in dust and sweat, but her eyes were alive with fire. "Yes. Because you stood." He gave a weak laugh. "I thought I was dead for sure." "You almost were," she said, walking closer. Then, softer, "but you gave me the chance to strike. Without you, I would have fallen." Alex met her gaze. For a moment, the war, the smoke, the pain, it all faded. There was only her, the fierce alien warrior who once blushed at his foolish words, and who now looked at him with something more than respect. The crystal core pulsed brighter, healing the ship, filling the air with calm light. The battle was over. Exhausted, Alex leaned back against the wall, closing his eyes. "So, what now?" The commander stood tall, lifting her spear. "Now, we rebuild. And you, human, you will walk beside us." Alex smiled faintly. "Not bad for a guy who just wanted to joke about your butt, huh?" The commander's lips curved, just barely, into a smile. "Not bad at all." And together, They stepped out of the chamber, leaving behind the wreckage of machines and walking toward the light of survival, side by side.